Deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on. As the big man Ian Wright just said there, people, Deluded, I'm back again. As you can see above my head, rather all crookedly, and let's make sure that just looks a bit better because that's going to take my attention away. Arsenal 2, Bayern Munich 2. Now, was you nervous? I wasn't nervous. I kept a cool head throughout. Of course, I'm lying. Now, that's why we love football, really and truly, you know. Again, I honestly, my head is still scrambled. I need to sit down and really think about my talking points. You know, it was a roller coaster of emotions. Now, I don't know where to start. Do I start with the negatives? Do I start with the positives? It's always best to get the bad things out the way early doors, in it. For me personally, considering we've taken the lead and we've allowed Bayern Munich back into the game, that's a problem. Considering, you know, I think there's a lot for Mikel Arteta. You know, I'm not against the high line, you know, going man for man. But I think there was issues there, if I'm honest. I think at times we was pressing well, but I think at times when they were beating that press, it was too easy for them. They've got Sane and Gnabry. They didn't have much to work with today, but the incidences that they did have, they were causing us problems. And Harry Kane did a good job of winning fouls. I think we showed a lack of street smartness in some aspects. And I've said it in my preview show earlier today at the beginning of my watch along, and I'm going to say it now. As much as, you know, the quality of Bayern Munich and the quality of Arsenal, what Tuchel has done in the game, what Arteta has done in the game, the tactical battle, the contrasting form, the formations, the battles all over the field, all that tactical stuff, it's all relevant. It all makes sense. But I've always said, I think the game, you know, as much as about that, it's about there's a lot of psychological factors that go into the game. And I think we showed that with us switching off and doing dumb things. I think, you know, you can see that we haven't been at this level, and you've got to be clinical. Now, both teams take a share of the proceedings. I wonder how it would have looked, pardon me, had Coleman have not hit the post, another one that went through Raya's legs. Had we have got the penalty, I'm sorry, no one could tell me that's not a penalty. No one could tell me that Davies shouldn't have been given a second yellow, even though he'll miss the away leg anyways. And, you know, I'm a fullback. I can tell you, you know, Benjamin White probably got nosebleed, probably got excited, but had he have scored, who knows? Defensively, we were naive. You know, the first goal, we all have to take collective blame. And what I'm going to say is, yeah, I do think fans are very reactionary. You know, half of these players that have made mistakes have made the difference for this football club throughout the season on different occasions. Half the players that you lot banged on about starting this game and maybe didn't play amazing, you know, have got us to this point. And people that came off the bench, people have had negative things. This is why you need a squad. So I think psychologically there's some issues there. I think we was naive defensively. I think I'm not questioning Arteta, but I think he'll go back to the drawing board, really. You know, he hooked Kyrgios probably because he's playing poorly at halftime. But if that happens, I'm sure hindsight's a wonderful thing for everybody. So there's a few things we need to learn to go to the next level. And considering we was at home, there's not a Bayern fan, Bayern Munich's form going into the game, which I told you not to disregard because still Bayern Munich, there's reasons to be optimistic. Bayern Munich look good, you know, and what I would say as well is statistically we had the more shots, not that we was clinical, we had possession, we had them living on the counter attack, which I'm not necessarily against because I think it was street smart. To know we can compete, and I know they're not in their best of form, but to know we can do that against a European team on the back of being disappointed today and being disappointed that we didn't beat City, it shows that we're ticking over in the right direction, if I'm completely honest with you. You know, Gabriel and Saliba, mad thing today, if I'm honest. You know, the first goal, I'm going to watch the game again. It's neither here nor there for me. I don't really care whose mistake it is. Everybody takes the blame. As I said on my watch along, it's like whether you've got brothers, sisters, cousins or whatever, it's like, you know, Sunday dinner is downstairs. You have stolen a potato. Nobody is saying who stole it. Everybody's getting beats. And I think that's how we need to look at it. I think, you know, I personally think looking at the replay again, I think it starts and stops to the degree of Raya. Because what you doing? What are you doing there? Watching it again, I can't speak to Raya or Gabriel, but I think both of them, there could have been better communication. But when I watched it from another angle, I don't feel Raya has called for it. Gabriel ain't got eyes in the back of his head. That's Raya's fault. Gabriel's fault for me is because, you know, he's done the right thing. He's taken control of the situation, you know, deal with it first, argue about it later. The problems is he's tried to play a cute pass. Now, I think Kyrgios could have done better, but he sold him short. I think Benjamin White doesn't tuck in enough. I think Rice isn't aware of the space. Not that I'm blaming them. I'm just saying it's a culmination of errors. What led to the penalty peed me off, if I'm completely honest with you, because I always say our first defender is our attackers, and they've gone from the right-hand side with Neuer, you know, all the way from Neuer through the midfield, all the way to the final third. Jorginho's actually done well in that incident, but Saliba's fouled him. And that Saliba's foul just sums up the whole phase of play. And also a lack of street smartness, because what we held on to the lead for 5 to 6 minutes. These are things we can improve on, if I'm completely honest. And if I'm honest with you, from the minute one, I felt confident in the final third. I think Odegaard's man of the match. People say he doesn't turn up in big games. Odegaard was phenomenal today. His build-up for what led to Saka's goal, and shout out everyone else that was involved in the 2 goals we've scored, you know, to the pressing, to the intensity, to his passing. He led by example. He was really up for this, really. In fact, Odegaard, Saka, Kai Havertz, if I had to highlight a few, obviously Trossard, Jesus, and even Zinni to a degree off the bench, they did well. This is why you need a squad. Obviously, we've got 2 goals, so it could have been better, it could have been worse, but we live to fight another day. The positives, as I said, we just got something out of the game. And, you know, for as much as I'm saying, I think psychologically we struggled at times, several times this season, we've shown a lot of resilience, which I think we did today. You know, in previous years, well, we would have probably lost 10-2 in the first leg. Previous years would have crumbled. You know, players that have made the mistakes, whether that's Saliba, Gabriel, or David Raya, that would have been the narrative in the game. But we fought to get something out of it. And I was very scared throughout the whole game with the counters. But I think we could have got more out of it in an attacking sense had we have been more clinical. So we have to count our blessings. You know, we have to slap ourselves because it could have been better. We have to count our blessings that while it could have been better, it could have been a lot worse. And we know, you know, Tuchel and Arteta are going to watch the games again. There's been 4 goals. I'm sure either team isn't going to be happy with them. So they're going to go back to the drawing board. There might be different personnel. There might be different things both managers want to try in this game. Obviously, we're playing in Germany and you're going to have Arsenal and Bayern fans. So the dynamics are very different, but it's all to play for next week. Now we have to focus on the Aston Villa game, if I'm honest. Zinchenko, big performance off the bench. At the end of the day, it could have been better. I think Martinelli was quite anonymous in the game, if I'm honest. Now, some of it was because of him and some of it was circumstantial. It was another game where I did want another 8. I think Rice looked a bit tired and he looked a bit reluctant to engage in 50-50s or moments where he could win the ball at times. And he was quite smart with that. I think a lot of that is owing to the yellow card. And Bayern showed why they're still Bayern. I think Deluded from them was an absolute monster. I think, you know, Eric Dyer, obviously I'm going to slander a former Spurs man, but he looked shaky. It was written in the stars. Gnabry and Harry Kane scored against us, really. And we kept Jamal Musiala quite quiet. Quality player, would love him at Arsenal, but I'm calling him Cardi B or Ice Spice. All he does is twerk and strip. Today, that's all he was doing, on the floor all the time, on the floor more than the souls of my trainers. So there's always negatives, there's always positives, but fundamentally we live to fight another day. But this will be a game that we need to learn from, because if we want to be in these stages of the competition, the margins for error are smaller and smaller. I think Saka was good, not just with his goals, but everything. I think he should have had a pen. Loved the step overs in the in the second half. So it is what it is. All in all, there's something more to fight for. We're back in a big time, and it was box office. And you look at City versus Real Madrid, 3-3. It's been some crazy games of football, but yeah, I'm off to watch the game again to prepare the tactical analysis for you lot. You lot let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Peace.
I think it's like